On this week's episode, I bang a drum and find myself on the floor. Biggie! What's up, gang? Welcome to today's episode where I'm going to attempt to put in a stainless steel box section into the top of, or the bottom shall I say, of this tree. Over the last couple of weeks we've been working on this blossom tree, which we have to then put together and take apart with ease. So we've got the root section, we've got the main trunk of the tree and the branches, all of which need to be taken apart and put together, which is tricky. It has been a challenge nevertheless, but we are always up for a challenge. So without further ado, let's get stuck in. This is the product of casting, the bronze resin casting. We had Charlie Elliott cut out these steel discs basically, which are essentially its base so that it can be bolted to the ground and it can't move. So I welded stainless steel threaded bar to this base and some box section. I've put a load of fiberglass and resin around the threads, around the box section, and then I placed this resin rooted section of the tree onto the base, and as you can see, it's proper solid. Now, the thing I need to do now is create a really flat top, but I need to insert this stainless steel box section, this 30mm stainless box section, into the top of this tree, because the other section of the tree needs to then slot on top, because it's going to be used as a flat pack sculpture, which is then going to be used at events, weddings, so you're going to be able to almost have it as a shelter. This is the small prototype, so we must get it right. So, that being said, let's get to it. Basically, it's been a bit of a tricky project to undertake because it's in so many sections. It needs to be super strong and it needs to be able to be taken apart and put together without it really falling apart. So I've taken my time. It's not your standard mold cast finish. It's, you know, mold, cast, figure out how that bit's gonna fit to that bit, working out angles, and it's taken a little bit more thought process than the standard mold and cast. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna fill this, I'm not gonna fill it completely, but I'm gonna use a general purpose resin and a phyllite powder, which is a really light powder that absorbs the resin, so you use less resin, which then basically gives you more material. So it basically turns into like a spongy, resiny mix. And I'm just gonna put some in the bottom, so then it pushes to the edges, so it really is super duper strong. And then I need to then figure out how this section here, because what I'd done yesterday was I actually welded the whole thing and I got round the angles, but the resin cast is too thin on one side, it pushes in. So every time I wanted to like move it, it would lift the base and it just wasn't getting level. So what I've done is I've cut it halfway and I've put a load of fiberglass around it and really put it along the base so it's all solid, it's all strong. But now I just need to figure out how it's gonna sit in there nice and square, and then I can then move on to the next section. So I think the first things first, let's mix up some resin and seal those joins. basically, gang, what we've done is we've mixed up some resin, we've mixed up some phyllite powder, we added the catalyst. Always make sure you add your catalyst before you add your powders. Make sure all the catalyst is mixed in so you know the resin is going to go off. And then add in your powders and mix thoroughly. If you've got a paddle drill like I have, it's so much easier than using a stick. But with this stuff, it is a fine line between it being too runny and too thick. If I put in any more, it would almost absorb all of the resin and you'd end up with like a crumbly powder. But what you want is this lovely sort of like thorough butterscotch mix. But again, it all depends on what job you're wanting to do. And for me, it is literally to pour into here, make sure that all of the resin gets to the edges and actually seals more so than it already is. So we've doubly strengthened what's inside because you want this to be super strong. And like I said, I've welded stainless steel threads on this plate that are about yay tall and some box section with scores in it. So now I've wrapped that with fiberglass. It's going to be super strong and it's not coming off, but I just want to double check and make doubly sure that it's definitely going to be super strong. And once we've done that, I'm going to clean up all these edges around here and I'm going to make it look like it's completely fed into the steel. So I'm going to mix up some bronze powder and some Cabosil mix and I'm just going to fill in those gaps and then we're going to work out how to attach the box section on top. When using this stuff, if you can do it outside because it is better than doing it indoors where if it's not ventilated or if you've not got extraction or if you're next to a massive door, make sure you've got a fan next to you because it's really important that you keep yourself protected because this stuff, if you're using it all the time, it's just not good. So always wear a mask and do it in a well ventilated area. Basically, gang, what we're doing is we're just welding or trying to figure out, in here is quite hollow and I want to be able to have this box section sort of sticking out and then we're going to fill that cavity with resin. But because it's all bent and it's all a little bit awkward, we're just figuring out how wide of a plate we can weld on so then we can wedge it in and then obviously when we fill it with resin, resin's not going to fall to the bottom and we don't really fancy filling the whole thing up because it'll be super heavy. So what we're going to do is we're just going to weld a plate and then we'll probably weld a bolt or something either side so it wedges in and then we're going to probably cover that with a load of fiberglass and then it just gives us more of a key and then we can fill it up with that phyllite powder that we just mixed up to fill up the seams. So Tom's just going to figure out the dimensions and how much we need to weld on and then weld it, cut it, fit it, resin it.
Stick it in.
Stick it in and resin it. Yeah, just hold that there. Roughly down
20 mil to wedge it in there.
Yeah.
30 mil.
And then just stick a little bit on the bottom here.
I'll probably put another 40 mil on and then it'll
just wedge in there.
Under here then, won't it?
Yeah, and then score up round there quite deeply.
Yep.
And then we'll wrap that in fiberglass. Job's a goose on.
Ideal.
Lovely job. Nice one. Let's have a look then, shall we? Wee, 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 wee. Almost in, mate. Thing is, it changes shape the further down it goes. I think it's a little bit on the ends.
Yeah.
Unless, does it?
I think it might be this corner.
Oh, is it that one there?
I think so, yeah. I'll just take the top out of that.
Yeah. Take the top out of that.
Take the top off of that one.
And then on down it goes. Job's a goose on. And it'll just sort of glide over that little lump.
Yeah.
It's hard to get your hand in and with a Dremel and take that out.
Yeah.
So I think we just cut that.
Keep manipulating this to get
and then just get that in.
You need that bent over or slit. Bend the thing over.
just want this to be relatively square.
Yeah.
I reckon now we can literally maybe put, it would be actually really handy if we did put a thread either side, so that when we do put resin in, it's keyed, and then it can't move, it can't twist. Because this tree comes up, it's at a funny angle.
Does it go square after here then, does it?
Well, it sort of bends round, but it actually goes up square and then goes to the right. But we just need this to go in deep enough. Maybe a little bit deeper than that, but just need to then obviously fill that cavity with resin and chop strand, so then it just basically keys onto these scores. And then we need to just make it super flat on top, so that when the other part meets it, it's almost a seamless join. But yeah, I think. Oh. Do you want a cuddle? Sit. Good boy. Look at the camera. Bye then. Bye then. Oh, it's great. No, bye then. Come here then. Come here then. Come here then. Hey. Here. Ready? Ready? He ain't playing ball. Oh, me knees! Me knees! Come on, here. You obedient dog, you. I love these buckets. They're not self-cleaning, you've got to clean them, but they are easy to clean. He says, his famous last words, we're just cleaning out this resin because we need to just mix up some more resin, and we're gonna just attempt to fill that cavity after we've put in that stainless box. So, god damn, there has to be an easier way. Just gonna scrape all this off. What I've got in here is this resin, phyllite powder, calcium carbonate, and then to make it super strong is I've shredded a load of fiberglass up and I've put it in, and it's made this like resiny fiberglassy calcium carbonate and phyllite mix, and it just looks nasty. But this is all these things combined just make it super strong. And so what we want to do is we want to fill this cavity up with resin, and we've got threads in there that are basically keying onto the side of the sculpture, and we've got a little plate that's been welded on the bottom, and that's going to act as like a sort of a cap, if you like. So I'm just going to plonk a bit in here, right, around the edges, and then we'll just slowly feed it down, because it's wet enough that it's going to fall into all the gaps. But I'm hoping that the fiberglass almost sort of creates, so it doesn't just run down through, if you see what I mean. So we're just going to sort of push it down, make sure it gets in all the threads. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. We may need to mix up a bit more, you see. But it's always good to mix up less and then have to do more than to waste a load of material. Because as nasty as this is, it's still expensive stuff, and you know, just always worth just doing bit by bit. Making sure you give yourself good time before it goes off as well, you know. So we'll push that down there. Beautiful. It's like it bloomin' grew there. So as you can see guys, that whole pot has been used and we've still got, I'd say, a half of the cavity to fill. Look at that, beautiful. Beautiful, I say, beautiful. So I'm just gonna mix up some more and hopefully that will be it. So we've put all this fiberglass and chopped strand and resin in. I want it to sit a bit lower because when we offer up the top section, I'm actually then gonna put a load of resin in there, and then we're just gonna sort of put something flat over the top so that it creates a flat surface on top. So I may make up a template that fits this, wax the template up, put some resin on top, go over the box section and then push it down so it's all square. And then once it goes off, we'll then end up with a really flat sort of resin finish. And then we can then start offering up the top section, and then obviously we can work out how the top meets this section, and then hopefully we'll get a seamless join. But I think that's all we can really do for today. Beep. Sup gang, thanks for watching today's episode where we managed to figure out how to put some box section into the root part of the tree. This whole section needs to be super strong because we've got the top section going on top of it and it's actually going to be counterbalancing the rest of the project. So I'm glad we got it done. I'm going to level it all off and then we're going to offer up the top section, get that nice and fixed, and then once we've done that, we'll take another look at it. But until then, we'll see you there. And now what we need to have is a nice solid base. So, now what we need to do is have a nice solid base. Mother. Beep. So we need to then just, fuck you! Sup gang, thanks for watching today's episode. Fuck it. Sup gang, thanks for watching today's episode where we finally figured out how to put the stainless steel box section in the root section of the tree. It's been a bit of a mission of a task. A mission of a job. Fuck!